It's a Mailbag Monday on the show where I answer your questions about this Cardinals team. Veteran lefties in the bullpen, regrets on the Bader deal, replacements at DH through free agency, and the World Series matchup is set. We'll discuss that as well on today's episode of Locked on Cardinals.
You are Locked on Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffron, and I am a sports anchor, national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, lifetime Cardinals fan, and I'm your host for Locked on Cardinals, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, covering your team every day. And you can follow me on Twitter if you'd like at JD Sports Radio, or you can just follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals on Twitter, or follow us both if you're that cool. I also want to thank those of you who make Locked on Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast. Also available on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't be shy. Be sure to comment so you can interact with us down below. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode of Locked on Cardinals is sponsored by SimpliSafe Home Security with Fast Protect technology exclusively from SimpliSafe. 24/7 monitoring agents capture evidence to accurately verify a threat for faster police response. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Visit simplisafe.com/lockedonMLB to learn more. Well, we want to learn more about this Cardinals team because we've got a whole off season to try to fix everything that happened this entire season that we just wrapped up. We got to figure out how to be the best, how to never, ever lose a game. That's what we're trying to do here in the off season. And one of the great things about doing this podcast is the interaction that we can all have together through Twitter and YouTube. It warms my soul when I see you guys on YouTube in the comments chatting back and forth and having civilized discussions. Makes me so happy. And during the offseason, there's more chances to do these mailbag type of episodes that we're doing today, where I can specifically answer certain questions that you post or tweet to me. So let's roll into it. First question today. This one I've seen brought up on a couple of occasions by multiple posters. So, again, let's just take a look at what left-handed veterans like Brad Hand and Will Smith would look like coming to the Cardinals. Okay, let's just kind of browse at them. You know, we're window shopping, if you will, at the moment. We're going to start with Hand, who is someone that I've always thought would be a solid fit in this pen, and a guy that last couple of years, you know, you could have had him after he got DFA'd. I mean, who doesn't want a reliable lefty, a veteran lefty in the bullpen to call upon when you need him? 12 years in the league so far, came up in 2011. Last year was a bit of a weird year. If you remember, he got traded from Washington to the Blue Jays, and people were like, all right, look at the Blue Jays, solidifying the left-handed bullpen side. And then he struggles, and he struggles mightily. 7.27 ERA, just 11 appearances. He only makes it through 8 2/3 innings, gives up 10 runs, 7 of them earned, 13 hits, 3 of those for home runs. And the Blue Jays go, all right, never mind. You guys can all have him. Here's Brad Hand. And they designate him for assignment. After 8 2/3 innings, after you've traded for this guy, they designate him for assignment. Bit of a shocker to us. But the Mets were like, that's cool. We'll grab him. So they did. And he was more like his normal self with a 2.70 ERA in 16 appearances, allowing 7 runs, 4 of them earned on 12 hits in 13 1/3 innings. Nothing that just jumps off the page is amazing, but still solid. In the offseason, the Phillies grab him on a 1-year deal for $6 million. He appears in 55 games, throws 45 innings, goes 3-2 with an ERA of 2.80, struck out 38. He walks 23, allows just 2 home runs, 32 years old. He's solid. He's solid. Will Smith is another one that a lot of people have brought up, another respected veteran left-hander who played with the Braves and the Astros this year. Appeared in 65 games through 59 innings, went 0-3 with an ERA of 3.97. The problem with Will Smith is that he slaps other men in public. No, that's a joke. It's a bad joke, but I'm kidding. That's actor Will Smith, not the pitcher. The problem with the pitcher is that he signed a 3-year deal for $40 million in 2019. That contract now has a club option after this season is completed for $13 million next year. So the Astros have to make a decision. Do they want to exercise that, pay him $13 million and keep him around? Or there's a $1 million buyout that the Astros can do instead, which seems like a likely thing. I mean, do you really want to pay $13 million for this guy? But maybe the Astros are like, you know what? We like him and we want to keep him around. 33 years old. So we don't even know if he's going to hit free agency or not. So now what we do, we look at those two guys, what they offer, age, salary, stats, and we look at what the Cardinals already have in-house, in the pen as far as left-handers go. We'll start with Genesis Cabrera, who was fine in the first half of the season, and then he just sucked all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, just not good, not good at all. Gets sent down to Memphis. He had 2 really bad games in September while at Memphis, where he gave up 3 runs and then 5 runs. But the rest of the time, pretty good. But you see when you get those 2 blow-up games, you see that the inconsistency is still there. Like, you can't have blow-up games like that. You don't want that. You can give up a run here or there. That's not going to do a lot of damage, but 3 and 5 runs every 5 games, you don't want that. He only walked 2 people while at Memphis in the month of September. So that's a good sign because we know that Cabrera can get a little wild from time to time, and he's still just 26 years old. So maybe they find something mechanically that was wrong. They fix it. Because remember, coming into the year, he was one of your big 3. He was going to be one of your best bullpen arms. And he was in the first half of the season. Second half, totally different story. Zach Thompson, very impressive. I'm not sure if they want him to become a starter or not, but the rotation at this moment, pretty full. I'm going to assume Wainwright is coming back. So you've got a full rotation at the moment. You haven't even talked about bringing Jose Quintana in, which you would, at least I would think, you'd rather have Quintana starting games over Zach Thompson, right? So if you have him in the bullpen, he was quite good. 21 games out of the pen. He was 1-1. His ERA 0.91. Struck out 25 hitters in 29 and a third innings. So he's not a big strikeout guy. He walked 12. But again, he was a rookie. And he's only 24 years old. But we like what we saw out of Zach Thompson. Jojo Romero, 26 years old. They got him from the Phillies for Edmundo Sosa after putting on a Cardinals uniform. Was fine. Appeared in 15 games, struck out 16 in 14 and a third innings. ERA of 3.77. He had one really, really crappy outing against Milwaukee where he gave up 3 earned runs and didn't get a single person out. And that can really make somebody's ERA inflated. So that's what happened with JoJo. But for the most part, I think the Cardinals liked what they saw from him. Throws hard, strikeout guy from the left side. Packy Naughton. Much better as a reliever than he was as a starter. He makes 23 appearances from the pen, ERA 3.24, strikes out 25 hitters in 25 innings, walks 7, gave up 27 hits, which is not exactly what you want. I mean, that's a lot of contact going on there. But he's 26 years old. Again, he's young. You're just bringing him up, okay? So you've got room to grow there. Steven Matz might be left in the bullpen, depending on what they do with the rotation. If they're like, hey, we do want Quintana back, what if Matz has to go to the bullpen? Could happen. I'm sure they'd prefer him starting, considering the contract that he's under. What's he going to make next year? $10 million. $10 million next year. That's a lot of money for a left-handed arm in the bullpen that's not like, a dominant closer of sorts. So I'm sure they want to start him. What if they go with a 6-man rotation? Is that illegal? You can't do that? We'll see what they decide to do. But Matz is back, obviously. So let's look at the salaries here. Brad Hand, $6 million. Will Smith, $13 million. Cabrera will make $1.2 next year. Thompson costs $700K. Romero, $600K. Naughton, $564K. Saving a lot of money there to put towards some other things. Just kind of depends on what you believe in as far as Cabrera, Romero, and Naughton. Zach Thompson, I think they're happy with them. The other guys, you're definitely hoping that Cabrera has a bounce back here. The Smith thing obviously has to be resolved with the club option, but the Cardinals are not going to pay anybody $13 million a year out of the bullpen. I just don't see that happening. Brad Hand could be a thing, but again, Philly might want him back, and they're having a lot of success in the postseason. So, when you have that kind of success and you're happy and things are going well, it makes it hard to leave. I mean, you would have to maybe overpay for him. And are you going to pay $6 million? Are you going to pay more than $6 million to get Brad Hand on your team? Would the Cardinals pay bigger for a veteran arm like that? I still have Brett Cecil PTSD, so I probably wouldn't chase these guys. I didn't hate our bullpen this past year. Again, Cabrera, if you get first half Cabrera, you're fine. You're very happy with the rest of the year. But if they don't, and they don't think he's got any juice left anymore, then signing a veteran lefty does make perfect sense. Another name, Zach Britton, also a free agent veteran, has had some injury issues the last 2 years, but was elite before that. So another name to keep an eye on in case they go that route. Maybe he needs, one of those prove it contracts, so let him do a 1-year deal for something. I mean, somebody will probably overpay for him, like the Yankees. But I don't know. Keep those names in mind. Something that definitely could be a possibility for the Cardinals in this offseason. As everyone knows, athletes rise and fall in the ranks. But when it comes to saving money, SimpliSafe always stays on top. And right now, you can save big with SimpliSafe Home Security. They're giving listeners just like you 40% off their advanced security system. SimpliSafe was just named the best home security of 2022 by U.S. News. You'll love it because it's SimpliSafe. Your safety is the only thing that matters. 24/7 professional monitoring. When a threat is detected, SimpliSafe's monitoring professionals promptly contact you and dispatch first responders to your home, even if you're away or unable to respond. They got your back when you're not around. 24/7 professional monitoring costs under $1 a day. $1 a day. That's less than half the cost of ADT's traditional professional installed plans. Saving you money, keeping you safe. That's what they do. SimpliSafe blankets your home with protection. With advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, they got those badass HD security cameras for inside and outside your home. Smarter ways to detect emotion that only alert you when a threat is real. And even hazard sensors that instantly detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Because you never know, especially living in the Midwest. We got all the seasons. We got all the weather coming our way. Our monitoring experts use proprietary response technology. I should say proprietary, easy for me to say, response technology to visually confirm when a break-in is real. So you get the highest priority police dispatch. So don't miss the chance to be a part of this. Save big when you protect your home with the best. Get 40% off your order when you visit simplisafe.com/lockedonMLB today. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes. Doesn't take long. That's simplisafe.com/lockedonMLB. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Back to the mailbag. By the way, once again, rocking the St. Louis Blues pullover, taking on the undefeated St. Louis Blues, which people will probably give me crap now because if they lose tonight against Winnipeg, people will say I jinxed them. I have nothing to do with the Blues winning or losing. So don't blame me if it happens. But they've looked really darn good, haven't they? All right. This question. Do I think the Cardinals regret trading Harrison Bader after seeing him perform so well with the Yankees in the postseason? Hell no. They do not regret this because Jordan Montgomery was a key piece of this team's turnaround in August and eventual winning of the NL Central Division. And he's under control next year. It wasn't like a month and a half rental thing that was going on for Harrison Bader, your gold glove center fielder who was hurt. Bader wasn't helping you. Not his fault, but he wasn't helping you. He was hurt. The Yankees could afford to give up pitching in their eyes so that they would have somebody like Bader in center field during the playoffs. And then he goes out and he hits 5 home runs, which nobody saw that coming. Nobody. So Montgomery back next year. He's got a slot in your rotation, full year in the Cardinal uniform where he's looked as good as he's ever pitched in the major leagues. He's going to get a decent bump in pay and arbitration, so hopefully he lives up to that price tag. But I dug Montgomery. I loved his demeanor, his no-nonsense approach. It fits this team very well out there on the mound. Bader pops the 5 home runs in the playoffs, and that's great for him. We love Harrison. I do. I sincerely do, and I hated seeing him traded, but you got to give to get. I tell you that all the time, and the Cardinals probably don't even make the playoffs without Montgomery. So I don't think they have any issues with that at all. In your DH episode, you mentioned JD Martinez. Any interest in bringing him in? I mean, sure, they can have a conversation about him, but he can't really play anywhere else. Like, he is a DH, and that's about it. And I think the Cardinals like what they have in Yepes from the right side, and then Gorman from the left side. I think they enjoy the fact that they're flexible as far as Yepez can play first, third, outfield. Gorman can play middle infield, third base as well. You don't get that with a JD Martinez. And then if you put their, again, rookie years, Yepez had injury issues. Gorman, really good for a little bit and then, struggled a lot. But if you combine their rookie year stats, 536 bats together. They both had 64 hits exactly. So that gives you a 239 average, 26 home runs, and 65 RBIs. And we know how much Gorman struggled late. So the numbers hopefully would improve, right? In the second year for both of these guys. That's what you're hoping for, progression, not regression. By the way, JD Martinez made $19.3 million this year. 35 years old, just hit 274, 16 home runs, and 62 RBIs. And half of his games are at Fenway Park, which is one of the very hitter-friendly parks in all of Major League Baseball. So, and here's the other thing. Here's another thing. Right-handed heavy lineup as far as who like your power hitters are. Goldie, Arenado, O'Neill, Yepez. I don't think they need another right-handed hitting power hitter. Yepez is fine. It wouldn't hurt to add a little punch from the left side. I'll tell you that much. Left side of the dish is a little bit shallow when it comes to the power. Carlson, Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan. I mean, Gorman's really your only power hitting left-hander. We haven't seen the power yet from Burleson if he's on this team. It's one of the things I really liked about the Juan Soto rumors because it would have added like that dynamic to the lineup that's been missing. Remember, like when you had like your best hitters, you had the switch hitter of Tommy Edman, and then you had Donovan from the left side, but not power hitters. And then it was all righty stuff. So it was like Goldie, Arenado, Pujols, O'Neill, and you want to break that up a little bit in a perfect world. So sadly, left-handed power hitters don't just grow on trees. It'd be nice to have one. You got Gorman. Other names that are out there, we've mentioned Jock Peterson. I just don't know if he's the right clubhouse fit. Stats are fine. I think he's fine on the field. I don't know. He seems like a weirdo, man. I don't know. And I just don't know if that would mesh well in a St. Louis Cardinals lineup and clubhouse. I just don't know. An interesting one might be Joey Gallo. Power galore. We know about that. Also comes with the 199 career batting average. That's right. He is below the Mendoza line now in batting average, but the whole shift thing is going to be altered next year, so maybe that helps him out. Buttload of strikeouts, though. That's another problem for him. He doesn't put the ball in play very much. I mean, you've already got Gorman, who's a very similar type of hitter there, so I don't know if you need to go out and pay a Joey Gallo to be on your team, but he's a big dude, and if you can get him on like a prove-it contract and he has success, I mean, that could be something, but I would imagine he goes to like a bigger market team or back to the Rangers where he had all his early year success. What about a Sean Murphy and Seth Brown deal with the A's? Seth Brown, 25 home runs this year, can play first in the outfield. Just spitballing. Something to think about as people continue to try to get Sean Murphy in a Cardinals uniform. Two teams that do have the left-handed power hitting thing figured out are getting ready to play each other in the World Series this year. We'll chat about that next here on Locked On Cardinals. I asked the question, I think it was last week, I think is when I brought it up. Does it make you feel any better knowing that the Phillies, who beat the Cardinals, have now ridden that momentum past the Braves and now past the Padres into the World Series? I mean, what a ride it's been for this team. Bryce Harper, man possessed, going for a ring, dude. Look at him go. 419, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, had that signature NLCS moment, hits the 2-run Oppo blast in the bottom of the 8th on Sunday. And then you got his partner in crime from the other side, Rhys Hoskins, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs. I mean, everybody's all over the Bryce Harper stuff because he's Bryce frickin' Harper. But Rhys Hoskins is having a heck of a playoffs too, matching Harper numbers-wise with the home runs and the RBI. So you've got lefty, you got righty, and then there's JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Gene Segura. They're all sprinkled in there, making this potent Phillies lineup, who I said at the beginning of the playoffs, people were like, you want to face the Phillies or the Brewers? I said, I would love to face the Brewers again. I don't want to face Philly. It was a team that was built and paid to be a World Series contender. And I keep seeing this crap online about this being like, oh, the surprise run by the Phillies. How is this surprising? Do you see the names that I just put up there? Like, they added Schwarber and Castellanos in the offseason to a team that already had Hoskins, the MVP, and Harper, JT Realmuto, Zach Wheeler, Nola. I mean, they added people to that. Like, this is supposed to be what Philly is doing. Shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. The Astros have their own murderers row, led by Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker from the left side. Right side, you've got Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, Gurriel from the right side too, who's doing very, very well in the playoffs. Isn't Gurriel like 50 or something like that? He's like the new Julio Franco. And here's the thing, none of these guys on the Astros have really caught fire, so to speak, yet, like Harper and Hoskins have. They've each had like moments here and there where they've done something great, but there hasn't been that one guy who's hitting like Harper, where he's hitting 400 or something. None of them are doing that. And yet the Stros are 7-0 so far in the postseason, while the Phillies have had to go 9-2. Will those extra games be bad or good? Probably won't matter because they don't play again until Friday. That's when the series will start in Houston. I'm assuming we're going to see a Verlander-Wheeler matchup in game one, but it hasn't been announced yet. Again, our household, we're pro-Philly, man. We're pulling for the Phillies. National League team. We like the dudes that are on the team. So let me know in the comments who you want or think will win. That way we can talk about that. Just makes you wonder, though. Just makes you wonder. If all hell didn't break loose in that ninth inning of game one of the wild card series, would this be the Cardinals instead of Philadelphia in the World Series? We'll never know. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your next listen, punch it on over to the Locked On Sports Today podcast. Biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. NFL, NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball. It's all happening still, and it's all under one roof at Locked On Sports Today. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. As always, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Twitter at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. You are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I'll see you next time right here on Locked On Cardinals.